So to kick off episode 2 of the Terrible Tyrannid collection, we're going to be doing Halo, which means I'm going to be doing a Grunt and also an Elite. I think these will be a good option. It should be a little bit weird in comparison to like actual Tyranids, but we're going to start off by working out the skin colors. This smaller one is going to be the Grunt, whereas the bigger one's going to be the Elite. And I've got to kind of just like work out the right color. It's got to be kind of like this yellowy brown, I think, is kind of the best way to start it off with the speed paints. So the main thing is to get the right ratio of, I've got a flesh wash, a hardened leather, and then a cultist cloak to make it kind of this more kind of cooler colors. And then I'm going to use the exact same wash, except for I'm going to add in some murder scene. This will make it redder, it'll make it complement the kind of blue armor, as opposed to the other one being kind of on the yellower side, which should make it complement the orangey armor that's going to go on it. I kind of really like how the murder scene absolutely changed everything about this kind of skin tone. Not only did it increase kind of like the concentration of it, but it's just a really nice color. Like, I would use this again for other things, I think. In the right context, this would probably be like a nice wood tone, but right now it's just a good alien flesh. So kicking off the Grunt Armor, I'm going to be using this liquid Cheeto dust. It's a really nice color, I really like it, but it also does kind of make me hungry. I enjoy it. And we're probably going to put a wash over it, we're probably going to do some extra details just to make it look nicer, but this is kind of the right color for kind of Grunt Armor anyway. As you can see, 2 colors in and it's already starting to look grunt-ish. I think these are the 2 main colors and I think I've kind of smashed it out. But that's not the early steps, we got more steps to do. So I've got to make up like a quick match of orange juice to go over the top of the Cheeto dust. I swear I need to go eat something, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to be mixing a candy ink yellow and a candy ink orange to make a super bright, vibrant, kind of light orange to go over the top of the already light orange. But it'll be like a slightly different light orange, and it should look quite nice. And whilst that's drying, I'm going to move on to the Elite. Now we're going to be using a color shift metal, which should give it like a super sci-fi kind of look. But the main thing with kind of fancy effect paints is that there is a little bit of pre-prep that you have to do. And with this guy in particular, you have to paint it black and then you have to varnish it. This is kind of like the way to get the best result. And I've experimented and I can't really like get a passable result with anything else. So I'm just gonna do it this way. I'm also going to do it for the claws of the Hormagaunt. I think it's a Hormagaunt. I'm going to do it with the claws for the Hormagaunt. My kind of like thinking about that is like one of the suicide grunts. So he has like 2 energy grenades, or plasma grenades, sorry. The 2 plasma grenades like strapped to either hand. Now that the pre-prep's done, I can move on to the actual color shift. And here it is. Now, I haven't used a lot of this stuff. There's very few times that you can actually use it, so I'm super happy about actually being able to use it in a project for once. Now I'm gonna test it on my thumb just to make sure that like I've got it wrong, and as you can see, like it really starts to like change, especially since there's like a white paint. The moment you paint it over this black, it immediately goes into this sci-fi bright bluey purple, which is really cool. Yeah. Now this is definitely just an excuse to use some of this stuff, and I'm super glad I did, because these are starting to look really cool. Now is probably the best time to mention that I completely forgot that Jackals exist, and this is definitely a Jackal and not an Elite. Maybe I'll do an Elite in the future. This is a good enough design that I'll do it for other things as well though. Like, it's straight up this cool. This is me trying to show the color change effect. It looks a lot more, well, you can see it a lot more in person. It doesn't get picked up by the camera as much. But you can still see it. It's kind of there. It's not as strong, but it's kind of there. So to add a little bit of visual variety to mainly like the weapons, we're going to be adding a little bit of gloss varnish with a touch of a bright blue to make it look a little bit more different and make it just a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to pop exactly the same paint on the claws, which have been painted just bright white in order to give kind of like an energy sword effect. This kind of white and a very thin bright blue should look like an energy weapon. That's back when I thought these guys were going to be elites and not jackals. So like an energy sword and a plasma rifle were probably like a fun loadout for these. Now, I was really on the fence about this step, but I decided to do it anyway. I'm going to dry brush some of the Jackals metal with a bright silver. This should help make it look a little bit more worn. The amount of metal that I had on my dry brush was going to be always like a super scary thing. Like if I do too much, then I ruin all of this work, and it's at least 3 layers to kind of repair it. So it was pretty nerve-wracking, but I think I got away with it. It was just enough. I added it to the little claws as well. And that's Halo. I've done them. Now, they've kind of transcended their kind of like biological theme, and they look really cool because of it. Like changing their kind of carapace into like literally like painted metal armor is something that's really weird, but I think it works really, really well with these colors and these designs specifically. I'm really happy with how these look. So much so that like I would be happy if an army was painted with these 2 colors. Maybe you could like stretch that out to like 2 or 3 different colors, but like these 2 look really, really nice together. Yeah, I'm super happy with how these ones turned out. I really think I hit the nail on the head when it came to this kind of yellowy orange color for the armor. I'm pretty proud of how much I kind of like color matched that in, and the skin tone is also like pretty accurate. I know it kind of changes depending on game. I kind of didn't realize up until this point just how much kind of the designs change between the different Halos. They get like a new one every single time they release a new game. Yeah. And then the Jackal, I'm really glad that I did change the skin tone. I think this one would have worked so much better with this material than the one that I used on the Grunt as well. Yeah, just kind of like that reddish tone really does complement that blue. And I'm so glad that I got able to use some of this color shift metal on a design that really does like actually benefit from it. Those energy claws as well look absolutely awesome. And then I put like a little green like node in the gun as well to give it that kind of like blue and green, which is quite like plasma weapons. So yeah, that's episode 2 of the Terrible Tyranid collection. I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. Like these ones are actual like seriously good as opposed to the other ones which are kind of silly stupid. Yeah, like if you liked it, stay tuned if you want to see more of these. Yeah, peace.